Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Director Cordray. I want to start out with regard to the big data collection issue, Director Cordray, and I don't. There are so many questions to ask on that. I'm just going to get into it briefly, but okay. I want to remind you that we need to get further answers from the agency with regard to literally the scope of and the content of the big data project that's underway to collect credit card information. I just want to clarify one fact in these questions, and that is it's my understanding that the agency's goal is to collect the credit card transaction information on 90% of the credit card accounts in the United States. Is that correct?
I believe that's correct, although I wouldn't put it quite that way. We're not trying to collect information on individual credit card accounts. We're trying to collect information that would give us the pattern of credit card activity in the marketplace so that we can protect consumers against the kind of abuses that led to the Card Act and have been reined in considerably under the Card Act. We're also trying to collect information so that we can accomplish our task that the Congress set for us of reporting to you every year on the effects of the Card Act, how it's affecting the marketplace. Do you want to consider further legislation to either go further or to reconsider what was done? We can't do that if we don't have information.
I understand that, but if my math is correct and understanding is correct, we're talking about approximately 900 million accounts. And you're collecting data on that 900 million accounts, and although I understand the purpose, as you've stated the purpose for your collection of this data, I have significant concerns about the potential abuse and misuse of that data and the loss of privacy that comes from it. But I want to move to the more recent development, which we learned about in April, which is that the CFPB is joining with the FHFA with regard to the National Mortgage Database. Now, what we learned then, just last April, is that the two agencies, the FHFA and the CFPB, are going to jointly work to expand the National Mortgage Database. And the information that came out in the Federal Register with regard to this proposed expansion is extremely alarming. I mean, I'm reading from the Federal Register right now, the records in the new expanded system may include, without limitation, borrower, co-borrower information, name, address, zip code, telephone numbers, date of birth, race, ethnicity, gender, language, religion, social security number, education records, military status and records, financial information, account information, including life events of the last few years, and the list goes on and on and on. And the question I have is, does this mean that the assurances that you have given us recently, and as we've discussed the big data projects, that you will not collect personally identifiable information on Americans is being changed? Is the agency's intent changing in terms of its data collection?
No, it's not. And I believe, without being certain, I believe what you're reading from was a SORN, which is a particular statement that is done for bureaucratic reasons under the law as to what could conceivably be the case. The National Mortgage Database, as it's conceived, will not include personally identifiable information such as name, address, social security number. I also want to make a point to assure you and your colleagues, because the question was raised, there are no plans, and we will not be including religion in the National Mortgage Database. What I do want to say is the need for this information is acute. Governor Bernanke, Chairman Bernanke, when he testified here and when we spoke personally, said that one of the problems before the financial crisis was they didn't know enough about the mortgage market. They didn't see coming what happened in the mortgage market. And Chair Yellen has reiterated this since. We have to know more about the mortgage market to prevent this economy from cratering again on the same grounds it did before.
Well, I understand, and this is a similar rationale to your explanation for the need for information about credit card transactions. Absolutely. And I understand the rationale. But again, I have the concern that the government collecting this phenomenal amount of data about private citizens could be used in an invasive way. And frankly, my time is running out, but I hope we'll have another opportunity for additional rounds, Mr. Chairman. I want to get into the questions about whether we can reverse engineer this information and whether abuses of the information could occur.
And I recognize that this operates in 5-minute segments. That's quite short. We are quite happy, as I've said to you before, to have our staff continue, and I know we are, to brief your staff and to talk back and forth about your concerns about this. I share those concerns. The GAO is conducting the study and report that you asked for. It's extensive. It will get into all of these concerns. We've had back and forth with them to considerable length. They're conducting a very responsible but comprehensive inquiry, and any way we can be helpful to you. It's so critical that this Bureau and the agencies have information to be able to oversee these markets and make sure that things are not happening that we don't comprehend. At the same time, recognize the issues of security and privacy that you're raising. I want to be sensitive to those and recognize that as foundational for this agency as well. So happy to spend as much time as you like, personally, myself, or our staff on these issues.
Thank you.